Friends, this is the city of Foshan, which is home to the largest furniture market in the world. It's huge. There are around 3 million square meters of retail space alone. It's not to mention the factories where the furniture is made. And yes, it's endless. It feels more like a city than a market. By the way, somewhere around here is me. I'm on the way to the largest furniture shopping center in the world, looking for furniture for my new apartment. The largest furniture shopping center is called the Louvre International Furniture Expo Center. From the outside, the building is modern, but inside, in some places, it looks like a palace, in line with its name. But don't worry, there is modern furniture too, and really a lot of everything. The total area of the complex is 380,000 square meters, and it features more than 2,000 Chinese and over 200 European premium brands. The shopping center itself is divided into zones. For example, the modern design zone. Here you'll find international brands like Nuzzi Italia, Baxter, Polyform, and others. Here is unusual in-bag chair from Nuzzi Italia. It costs about 24,500 yuan in the shopping center. Sounds expensive, but you can find it on Taobao in Chinese version of Amazon for 19,000 yuan in the official store. And much cheaper if you buy a copy. But I'll talk more about online platforms and how to order from them later in this video. Let's keep going. There are also original Chinese brands here like Shine. I like this sofa. The backrest moves backward, allowing you to adjust the depth. The armrests are adjustable. The sofa looks light and functional. You can lower the armrest to relax and rest your head. I also liked a room divider screen in the store. It had circular wooden inserts in black and light colors. You can rearrange them to create different patterns. It's an interactive, creative element you can change depending on your mood. There is actually a huge variety of sofas in the shopping center. Here is another one. A green two-seater sofa, about 20,000 yuan, but with shipping and customs, it seems expensive. But I like its puffy shape. Another green one, this model also has a movable backrest, so you can adjust the depth. In general, there is a lot of transformable furniture here. For example, a coffee table with movable tabletops. So convenient, you might accidentally knock over your glass of wine. Okay, just kidding, it's a fun piece. Overall, I love transformable furniture. It's perfect for my apartment. Of course, nothing here is really budget-friendly, but it's definitely interesting. And don't worry, guys, I will include more affordable options for you in the second part of this video. What's next? Designer furniture. A sofa with golden parts and fluffy parts? What does this remind you of? Would you want something like that in your home? A coffee table 3D printed to look like a cream cake makes you want to grab a spoon and take a bite. Or a chair, but it looks like it would be uncomfortable to sit on. And a star-shaped or flower-shaped chair, what do you think? Then there are some, let's say, very unusual pieces, like this throne chair, apparently meant for a rich marmite. Continuing, classic and luxury. And of course, you can't go without classic and luxury styles. The center is called the Louvre after all. There are entire palace-style floors showcasing brand name houses like Fendi Casa, Armani Casa, Versace, Bentley Home, and more. We're not going there. Modern and functional style is more our thing. What's next? Beds. Here's a bed where you can adjust the height of the headboard. And you can do it separately for each side. Doesn't it seem like there's a trend toward transformable furniture? A chair. A bit of constructivism for you. How about this chair? It doesn't look soft at all, but it could be a strong accent piece. Asian wooden furniture. There's a lot of traditional Asian furniture, perfect if you want the atmosphere of a Chinese tea house or a spa and plan to spend all your time relaxing. And I want to separately highlight the neo-Chinese style. It has an entire dedicated section here. It's a blend of luxury with Chinese tradition and philosophy. There are definitely some interesting pieces in the style. So here is a quick summary of the Louvre Furniture Mall. A great place to see the trends and range of the Chinese furniture industry. To understand what's available here, to see good quality in person, and to decide whether to keep looking for better prices elsewhere. Because once you add shipping and customs, the final price may be not cheaper than in the local brand name store in your own country. But for anyone who wants all the photos from this mall and contacts, I've included a link in the video description. By the way, it included not just the furniture I've showed in the video, but also one didn't make it in, so feel free to use it. Let's keep going. We're on the hunt for furniture with great quality and great prices. Friends, this is a continuation of my series about how I'm furnishing my apartment. In the previous episode, I talked about interior design trends I gathered from the latest design exhibition around the world, and how I applied them in my own space. In another episode, I shared how to choose colors for your interior and gave practical tips how anyone, even without an art background, can combine almost any colors using a few simple rules. I also showed the appliances I bought for my home. I got air purifiers that look like they are from a sci-fi movie, and I hid my robot vacuum cleaner inside an IKEA cabinet. In another episode, I talked about what you can buy at IKEA without making your home look cheap. For example, the pack storage system. So friends, if you haven't watched this series yet, check it out. There is a lot of useful stuff in there, and I'm an architect and interior designer, and everything I share is based on my real experience furnishing my own place with real life examples. Next location. I found the next location thanks to a recommendation from my friends. It was, let's say, an indirect recommendation. They said just look for Turkish kebab. In areas where a lot of foreigners gather, places like this tend to pop up, because the most reliable food for foreigners in Foshan is Turkish kebab. It's simple and familiar. So wherever there is Turkish kebab, that's where foreigners go to look for furniture. If you want to find furniture that matches your style and taste, look for kebab spots. Here is the logic. For this, you need the Chinese map app Baidu. But there is a catch. Everything in the Chinese map is in Chinese. So you'll need Google Translate, download the Chinese language and your native language. Next, type Turkish kebab, translate into Chinese, copy the characters, paste them into the Baidu map, pick the area where you want to search, and you will find it. Basically, that's how searching in China works in most cases. That's exactly what I did. Google it, found some kinds of market, went there. But of course, it's not as premium as the first shopping center. This place feels more like a market. The ground floors are filled with all kinds of mixed furniture. The second and third floors are better, they're more like proper furniture stores. But maybe this is exactly what I need. Sofas. Let's start with the sofas. I like this sofa with a gradient effect, where the color transitions from black at the bottom to a lighter shade towards the top. The shape is cool and the sofa itself is quite unique. This kind of fabric with a gradient is a current trend. All the photos from this location, along with contacts, I linked in a Google Drive folder in the description. Check it out and feel free to use it. The next sofa is leather. In general, there is a lot of leather furniture here. It's a three-seater, the kind you can really spread out on. It looks very much like an Italian sofa, Italian-style furniture. The side armrests are slightly raised, still the sofa feels light and doesn't visually clutter the space. Mainly because the armrests aren't too bulky. Plus, it's standing on thin metal legs, giving it a floating appearance. This next one, the red berry sofa, would work well in an interior you want to fill with color. In the video about how to combine colors, I mentioned that red is a signal color, and it's better to use signal colors in furniture or decor items so they can easily be swapped out later if needed. I think this is a great example. The factory offers different fabric colors and the sofa itself is quite comfortable. The sofa really stands out to us because of its unusual shape. It looks like stones. The only thing we change is the color scheme and the print. The price for this one is 6,800 yuan for 2 models. I think there's still room to negotiate. The next sofa also resembles stones in style, but it's a larger model, a big modular. It has a lighter color scheme. This one is a replica of the Pebble Rubble sofa by the Italian brand Morosco, designed by Front Design. It's more expensive, like due to the size. This one costs 12,000 yuan, but it won't work for us because it's just too big. Overall, there's a lot of replicas in this location, and they vary in quality. So it's really important to find a factory where the quality of the production is already controlled. Ideally, it would be a factory that manufactures for that exact brand. Coffee tables. Oh, we found the exact same coffee table we saw in the Louvre showroom, and it's much cheaper here. The quality, honestly, is identical, a perfect match. They're all stones of coffee tables made from natural stone here. For example, we found a really beautiful coffee table made from 2 parts, using natural stone. The most important tip, if you're choosing stone, don't go for overused textures. Calcutta with gray veining, for example, is very overdone, so it's better to pick stone with colorful veining like on this coffee table. This one costs just 2,300 yuan. There's also a lot of stone vases, bowls, and many other coffee tables. Here's another stone table with a green toned stone. It also costs 2,300 yuan. Next, a coffee table with smooth, flowing shapes. It would fit perfectly in a desert-style interior, or in a space where you want to emphasize natural stone-like forms as if they were shaped by the wind. It has that kind of organic, natural structure. Next section, dining tables. Here's a dining table made of solid wood. It's quite large. I'd say about 9.5 meters in diameter. It costs around 2,800 yuan. A chair with soft upholstery to go with it costs 680 yuan. The exact same chair in another store with Chinese-style upholstery costs 480 yuan. So clearly, there is room to negotiate on this price. And if you're buying in bulk, the price can be even lower. Solid wood furniture. Alright, moving on. What do we have here? Wow, here we have a solid wood dresser. What can I say? The pattern on the front is really beautiful. It resembles geometric designs. It's not flashy, it doesn't draw too much attention, but it still acts as a focal point because of that geometric pattern. As for quality, I'd say it's solid. The price is also quite reasonable, and it's made entirely of solid wood. But here's an important tip about solid wood. In China, generally speaking, things are fine, but solid wood absolutely must be properly dried. Because if you're shipping furniture from China to a different climate, especially a dry one, wood that hasn't been properly dried can start to warp during transportation. It might crack, twist the fronts, or change shape. You'd have to restore or repair it afterward. So always ask the factory how they handle wood drying. That's why it's often better to go with a mixed construction, where the edges and trim are made of solid wood, but the core and main body are made of veneered MDF. It looks like solid wood, but performs better over time. Partition. And here we have a partition, Chinese style, also made from solid wood. These kinds of partitions work great for dividing up space. For example, you can separate the living room from the dining area or the living room from a work zone. You can also create a distinct entryway or even break up a hallway. What's great is that this partition doesn't go all the way up to the ceiling. It's mobile, easy to move, rearrange, or even use as a decorative element against a wall. For example, if you don't want to drill into your wall, you can simply move your sofa or bed 10 to 15 centimeters forward and place the partition behind it. That's it, the wall is visually framed and you didn't have to drill anything. This kind of partition is inexpensive, around 1,800 yuan. There is tons of them in China, something for every taste, with Asian motifs, carving patterns, or like this one in a modern style. Now let's take a look at the beds. On the second floors, there is a wide selection of beds that visually resemble Italian brands. The leather is good quality, everything looks clean and well made, and the prices are very reasonable. For example, this bed, its shape is fairly simple, but the stitching is clean and even everything's well constructed. The price is 2,750 yuan. Here's another example, a brown bed with a leather headboard. The stitching here looks more or less fine, and the price without the mattress is 2,680 yuan. Now let me show you the armchairs. For example, here's an orange armchair. It looks bright and beautiful. In the same factory has an identical one in gray. These chairs are priced around 2,300 to 2,400 yuan. This one, though, is a more common model, a low-seater armchair. Quite simple. You can find something like this for about 1,500 yuan. And here's a green armchair, large and deep. What's interesting about it is that these chairs can be connected together to form a full modular sofa. They cost somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 yuan depending on the model and fabric. In another factory we found armchairs that combine into one larger modular sofa unit. The price there is higher. One model costs around 3,680 yuan, but as always in China you can and should negotiate. If you're buying a large batch, the price will go down even more. What's interesting in terms of materials and visual style? These models can be printed like this one with botanical graphics, monochrome all-in-one fabric, or mixed with both fabric and leather. And by the way, this mix and match style is a big trend right now, making sofas and armchairs using different colors and materials. For example, one part of the sofa might have a printed pattern, another part in a plain fabric, and the cushions made of leather. Even the chairs using different fabrics for contrasts. But in terms of shape, they are all in the same style. And since they're all placed in one area, it looks lovely and interesting. Visually, it adds variety and brings rhythm to the interior. And of course, what would this be without some fun and quirky Chinese furniture design? For example, here's a chair made of squirrels. Yes, like squirrels caught you and are hugging you. Looks weird, but fun. Definitely lifts your mood. And here's a bench made of bunnies. What do you think of that? Honestly, as an accent piece or a humorous element, it totally works. You could put it in an entryway or hallway so your guests immediately know what kind of place they are in. Here's a cloud-shaped sofa. It would actually be great for a kid's room, soft, round and playful. Kids love it. They can play on it and let their imagination run wild. Another one is a mini alien chair. That's what I call it. The shape is a bit strange, but that's exactly the charm. And here's a shaggy chair. I think the trend comes from people's love for pets. More and more chairs and sofas are becoming long hairs. Maybe so your cat or dog can nap on it comfortably. Also, you can sit down and feel like you're hugging a fluffy companion, even if you don't have a pet. Speaking of animals, you can even buy a furniture dog. Yes, a fabric dog. Basically, an animal-shaped figure made of soft upholstery. For example, here's a bear lying on the floor, more like an installation piece. It's a replica of something by Vitra, if I'm not mistaken. There's also those little animal figures. I'm not sure what they are supposed to be exactly, but they come in different fabrics and you can pick one to match your interior. They work great as a decorative accents or just for fun. To sum up, these furniture malls are a great option if you're looking for a good balance between price and quality. But you really do need to come here in person to check the quality with your own eyes. How to order furniture from China online, Taobao, AliExpress and 1688. At some point, I thought technology has come so far, you can probably order everything online. And yes, you can. and it's not as scary as it seems. The main thing is to understand where to search, how to buy, and how to ship everything. Taobao. Taobao is a Chinese marketplace, kind of like Amazon, but for the domestic Chinese market. It has pretty much everything: designer furniture, cheap no-name items, and all kinds of unusual pieces you won't find in Europe or in the US. There's one issue: everything is in Chinese. You'll need to use a translator. There's a really handy image search tool that makes life easier. Just take a photo or upload a picture of the item and it will find an exact match. The second issue: they don't ship internationally. So you'll need a proxy agent who will purchase the item for you, inspect it, and ship it to your country. You can use services like SuperBuy, WigiBuy, or CSS Buy. I haven't used them personally, so be sure to research and read reviews. There are many of them, you just drop the link, they handle the rest. Important note: Taobao now has an English interface, but it's much better to use the Chinese version. The selection is significantly larger. 1688.com. 1688 is more of a wholesale platform used by businesses. You'll find factories here, especially from Guangzhou and Foshan, that manufacture much of the furniture in China. Again, it's all in Chinese and you'll need a translator. Google Translator in your browser works fine. Prices are generally similar to Taobao, but sometimes even cheaper, especially if you're ordering in bulk. That said, you can often negotiate even for 1 or 2 pieces. You don't always have to order 50. It works the same way through an agent or logistic company. They buy, check, consolidate, and ship the item to you. AliExpress. AliExpress is designed for international buyers and it's very straightforward. English interface: you can pay with a card or PayPal and delivery goes right to your door. It also has image search, but furniture selection is quite limited. Prices are significantly higher. My experience ordering chairs from Taobao. The first chair turned out great, a bar stool with an adjustable leg. I put one in the kitchen and the other on the balcony to enjoy the sea view and have evening Zoom calls. But the second chair didn't go so well. I ordered a wooden dining chair. It arrived looking nice, but I noticed it wasn't painted on the underside of the legs. Also, the seat cushion was crooked. It happens. I reached out to the customer service. I messaged the seller: "Guys, please send a replacement." They reply. I explain the issue in detail. They say, "Okay, we will remake the cushion and send a photo." All good, we'll remake it. Here's a photo. I look at the photo and they literally just grab another crooked cushion from the same bench and they planning to send it to me. I say, "But it's crooked too." They go, "No problem, we'll fix it." 2 days later, they send me the same photo of the same cushion as before. That's when I realized we're not going to fix the cushion. Fine, I gave up, stuck with a crooked cushion. I sit on the chair, rocking a bit, and the chair just falls apart. Boom! The backrest hit the wall on the way down and leaves a black mark. The chair explodes and I hit the floor. They refunded the money for the chair, but not for the shipping. So yeah, that was my 50-50 experience with online platforms. Takeaway: it's much better to order from factories that are known for quality. And that smoothly brings us to the next part of my journey. And as it turns out, things were only just beginning. A factory recommended by my Chinese friends. Remember Margie, the designer from the video about the transformable apartment in China? She recommended 2 factories to me. I ran a little bidding process. I had a list of items I needed made, along with design drawings that showed the exact dimensions and how everything should look. I included descriptions of the required materials and specifications to ensure high quality, and sent everything in 4 quotes. If you're curious, I've included a link to the spec sheet. In the end, I got 2 quotes. One of the factories was easier to communicate with and I chose them. Plus, Margie said there was a bigger operation and had better quality standards in place. Trip to the factory. The factory was large with lots of equipment. I looked at the furniture and I think wood-related looked great. But I had some concerns about the upholstery pieces. They weren't holding their shape well.
这个产品椅子是美国 Foshan 这个品牌的。This one?
Got okay. Classic design, okay.
Yeah. Okay. 这两台是大的 CNC。
I couldn't get started on selecting materials and conforming the order right away. Everything was going through an outdated translation app, and it wasn't translating correctly. 3 days later, I found a translator and things started moving immediately. But free, okay.
刚刚这个的时候略大一丢丢。
好，可以。
Yeah.
也不是群建了一段时间，但是这才因为
没有发这个文件吗？
我可以发一下。
啊，是。
We went through every item. I showed them the drawings, explained all the details, and we picked out the materials. The whole process took about 5 hours. We agreed to start the job. I transferred them a 30% deposit so we could begin work on technical drawings. They sent over the technical drawings. We started making corrections, wrong dimension here, wrong shape there. The most difficult item was the sofa. It had a rounded, complex shape. They hadn't made anything like it before. And everything they sent didn't match my design drawings.
Guys, I got drafts and suppliers. Third time, did a lot of mistakes. This is what I need, what we did.
After the 4th round of revision, I was just tired. I decided I will order the sofa from another factory I saw in Foshan.
I decided to change suppliers for this sofa.
And let this one make the rest of the furniture. Takeaway: only order from Chinese factories what they already know how to make. If they haven't made it before, you'll end up stuck in endless adjustments, and you'll have to micromanage every millimeter. Ordering one custom item is not worth it, but if you're producing a whole bunch, that's different. Once you've worked through the details and fine-tuned everything, the production process flows smoothly. Production starts. The Foshan factory that was making the sofa got to work quickly. They sent photos, showed the frame and the type of filling they were using. 2 weeks later, the sofa was finished. I'll explain the logistics and delivery part later. But the sofa arrived, it looked great, and the quality was excellent. Meanwhile, I was still struggling with drawings at the first factory. They sent to me 2 sets of samples. I checked the samples in my apartment under different lighting conditions to make sure everything matched. I kept 1 set of samples and signed the other set and sent it back. Once everything was confirmed, I paid another 20%. Production began. Then another pause. 1 week passed, silence. 2 weeks, still nothing. I started messaging them, pushing. Guys, we're running late, everything's approved. Let's move forward. That gave them a bit of a wake-up call. They scheduled the work and started sending photos showing progress. From the photos, I was able to give correction when I saw something off. For example, they made some upper cabinets that go above an IKEA unit incorrectly. I requested the dimensions, asked them to photograph everything, and pointed out the mismatches based on the drawings. They sent photos of the paint process, and finally everything was done. It was time to visit the factory and inspect it in person. I arrived at the factory. Overall, the furniture looked good, quality decent, but there were a few things. The partition railing needed a thicker metal tubing. There was a stain on the round metal table. The decorative dresser was fine overall, but the doors needed adjusting and 1 leg needed shifting a bit. They also adjusted the handle height on the wardrobe. There was a mistake in my drawing, but I caught it in time. They installed them at a comfortable height for a daily use. The chair, it was good, especially the black one. It is their own model that they regularly produce. They are just repainting it in black. The poster chair was also nice, but instead of red, they made it in white fabric. They said it was a temporary slipcover and later it would be made in the correct fabric. They use a cheaper material just to conform the form, and then they'll produce it in the higher-end fabric. But the work desk, that was a problem. It's a complex piece. It has an electric height adjustable lift system. They ordered the leg from another manufacturer, and that's where the issues started. They ordered the wrong height. The legs were too narrow. If you place a cabinet under lift, there's barely any leg room. What needed to be fixed? Widen the leg spacing, shorten the legs to the proper height, ideally 72 to 76 cm at the lowest position. Swap out the hinges on the desk for black ones. The current ones stand out too much. Drill a couple of holes for cable management. All minor things, and they fix everything. Bottom line, Chinese factories can do great work as long as they're making something they've made before. If it's something new, you'll need oversight, patience, and energy. How shipping works and what it costs. So you found furniture on Taobao or 1688. You copy the link, send it to your agent, they purchase it, inspect it, pack it, consolidate it with your other order, clean custom and ship it to you. If you're working with a factory, they can often recommend a logistic provider who will handle the exact same process. In China, this whole system runs like a well-oiled machine. I shipped my furniture to Hong Kong, but here's an example that will help you understand how it works globally. Let's say you're shipping a sofa to Los Angeles. You can use this example to estimate delivery to most countries. Take my 2-model sofa, roughly 240 by 110 by 70 centimeters, nearly 2 cubic meters in volume. Okay, CF rate on the average costs $20 to $60, depending on the route and carrier. Additional costs: purchase, handling, and warehouse $20 to $50, packing and consolidation $30 to $60, customs and logistics in China and the US $100 to $200. Final door-to-door delivery in LA $150 to $250. Total between $320 and $620, depending on the route and level of service. That's just for the shipping, not including the cost of the sofa itself. Additional notes: US Customs applies an extra tariff on furniture imported from China, 10% plus 20%, until August 2025, though this rate keeps changing. So in the end, the sofa will cost around $1,400 to $1,600 plus your time and energy. But if you're furnishing an entire home, you can optimize the shipping and make it more cost-effective. And the moment of truth, my furniture has arrived. Delivery! Guys, the problem is with this box. It's very big, it's not okay for my elevator, and we need unpack it and move without wood and cardboard. Guys, I screwed up. I miscalculated. The bed doesn't fit. It needs to be split into 2 parts to get it in. And now here's the deal. Since the furniture here is cheap, it might be easier to give away or order a new one. However, I chose the third option, to find someone who can cut it into 2 pieces, make a clean joint, and then put it back together on site. Final thoughts. Yes, it's absolutely possible to order everything yourself, but you'll need to put in the effort. I hope you found my detailed guide helpful in understanding how to order furniture from China.